I think you can start.
I can start? Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, good morning. My name is Maria Adrián. I'm an industrial engineer and work for the technical support department at CYPE. You can reach me at the address support@cype.com. Okay, so don't hesitate to write an email if you have any doubt during this seminar or afterwards. Okay? Another important thing. In this webinar, you can ask questions. Okay, you can write any question you have in the questions tab or in the chat. And at the end of the seminar, I will answer all the questions. Okay? Okay. Today, the seminar is about the design and analysis of fire protection installations. I think it's very useful to keep in mind this scheme, because here you can see all the programs that are related to the CYPE installations directly or indirectly, as I will explain now. First of all, it's important to have an IFC with the architectural model. This IFC can be made by many programs. One option, very advisable option, is to use our programs, IFC Builder or CYPE Architecture, which are free programs. Also, you could use an IFC that comes from Revit. In this case, it's advisable to use the plugin that you can download from our store, which allows to start a project from Revit. Okay, once you download the plugin from Revit, you could start a new project. And the last option is to start the project with an IFC that maybe it can come from Revit, but you don't have the license of Revit, or it can come from another program. So you can very easily upload it with IFC Uploader and begin the project with that IFC. So that could be, or that is the first step, to start a project with an architect. In my case, I'm going to show very briefly so you can understand what I mean with that. People that don't know about the workflow. I'm in my account in BIMserver.center, and I have created a project with, in this case, with the name of the seminar. And here I have the content. You can see the architectural model. This is going to be the start of the project. I'm going to use this with the next program, the programs that do the design or calculation of the fire protection installations. Okay, so that could be the starting point. Okay, the architecture. Once you have done that, you can start using the CYPE programs. This is really a suite. There are a lot of programs. Each one has its own features. The first program is CYPE Design. This program assists the user in the process of designing and verifying the characteristics of the building and fire protection facilities. It can serve as a starting point for the workflow because the program creates requirements for the structure's fire resistance, CYPE, or program for structures, the sprinkler installation. If you are working with CYPE hydraulic systems, you will get requirements from CYPE Design. Okay? So anyway, you can do that, but it's not something that you must do. It's optional. Okay? You could start from the beginning with CYPE hydraulic systems. I mean, okay? That could be one way of working, or you could do like that. Okay, another program about CYPE hydraulic systems. We are going to be a lot of time with this program because there are a lot of things I want to show you. But before all that, only a little explanation that in this program with CYPE hydraulic systems, you can design and calculate fire networks. It can be for sprinklers, but also for fire hose rails. We will go back to that afterwards. Then, other interesting program is CYPE pressure systems. which is an application for the design of staircase over pressure systems according to N 2101-6, an European standard. Then another interesting program is CYPE FDS, which is a program for dynamic fire simulation. If you have insert or use sprinklers in CYPE hydraulic systems, if you export from CYPE hydraulic systems, you will get the sprinklers in this program automatically. That's what this arrow means. And then this other program, CYPE FDS Viewer, is a free tool that allows everybody to view the results previously calculated in CYPE FDS. Okay, so that CYPE FDS is a program that requires payment. You need to have that in your license, but CYPE FDS Viewer is a free tool. What does this mean? That the person in charge of the calculation should have the license of this program, but then that person can share with their colleagues the results, exporting that to BIMserver.center. So anybody that is using that project can see it very easily, only see the results. Okay, that's the difference between these two programs. And then why do we have these other programs that are not exactly about CYPE but are related? I'll explain you now. This program is here, CYPE, the structures program, because this program reads the fire resistance requirements of the structure to be checked. Then in CYPE this program reads the firefighting equipment, the fire extinguishers, the fire hydrants, the alarm buttons, and the evacuation routes introduced in the project to perform the minimum lighting check. So if you have created the evacuation routes in this program, this will be read directly in CYPE. Then why is CYPE here? Because with this program, you can design and calculate the ductwork, for example, for the smoke control systems required in parking lots. And then the last program in this scheme is OpenBIM S3F Signs, because this is a program for the installation of signage according to the catalogs of the manufacturer S3F Signs. Okay, you can work this directly, or you can read the signs from CYPE Design. And when there's a big catalog from some countries like Portugal, Spain, United Kingdom, and France. So that's a little overview of the programs we're going to talk about today. Maybe, I suppose, the first question is, where can we download these programs? Where can we find these programs? Well, the first step is that you have to go to our website. Here is BIMserver.center. Okay, and in your case, make sure you select here the English flag. Okay, just by doing this, you have a lot of information available for you. Here, you can see the store. If we press here, there's a line for searching for programs. If we write CYPE, you will find all the programs that we have related to the fire design installations. As you see, some of them are the ones that I have just explained. Others are from Spain, so that's why, or France only, so that's why I didn't talk about them. Very particular standards. But here you see CYPE Design, CYPE Hydraulic Systems, CYPE FDS, CYPE FDS Viewer, and CYPE Pressure Systems. Once you are in, you click one program, for instance, that one, you will see important information. First of all, you can see a link to the website of the program. That could be a good idea in order to see a little information about, more in-depth information about the program, okay? Other important information is our email. Okay, in case you have any questions, maybe once you try the program, maybe you want to ask something or make a suggestion, for example, that's a contact information email. Okay. Another important part of this is that you have here that's the button where you download the program. One thing that it's important to know is that without any register, you can see the programs and also not only that, but also the available resources. Okay? In case sometimes there are videos, even tutorials or seminars, depending on the program. But if you want to download the program, you have to register in our website. That's completely free of charge, of course. Only with the comment you have to get to present login, and if you don't have an account yet, register here. So easily, very fast. You can get an account really fast and totally free of charge. Okay. Let's see. In my case, I have, of course, I have an account, and here I have the project as the one I showed you earlier. In the account, inside the account, there is also a store button. That's what I usually use in order to download the different programs. Okay, instead of from the main page, as I show you here, I go in my own account. Okay, but I only wanted to let you know that there's no need to have the account in order to take a look at the programs we have. We have 145 programs, so probably there's some programs that are of your interest. And also, not only the programs, but also the information. Here, I think something that I find very interesting is a blog. If you press here, okay, you can have access to very interesting articles we have right. In case here you can search by a word, and about CYPE, there are very interesting articles. For example, one that I found extremely useful is that one, the use case fire protection design. That is, explains all the steps that have to be made in order to complete a CYPE project. Or I advise you to take a look at that. Okay. Okay. Once that we have done this, let's open some programs. Okay. Let's start with CYPE design. Here it is. I've already opened it. Okay, I have them in my desktop, but I have already opened the file. This, in this case, if you see here the 3D, I have linked the file to the project. That means that I'm reading the architecture from the project, so I didn't have to draw anything about, about the walls, the windows, the stuffs, etc. All was read from the IFC. Okay, so and also the floor plans, etc. Were read from the IFC. And here I give more information. I am adding more information to the model. Okay, that's the way it works. There are a lot of interesting articles and videos about the workflow. In this case, I only wanted to explain directly the programs, okay, because we don't have much time. But I want to make sure you understand what each program does. Okay. So about CYPE design, this is a program where, first of all, it's very advisable always to go to the general options for the different programs. And here you can see that. Take a look at the flags. That's quite important because it means if you see this means we have pre-configured standards for some countries. In this case, CYPE design we have from France and Morocco. So if in this case, I suppose all of you are from other countries, different than France or Morocco. So in this case, what you should have to do is to create your own checks, okay, for the different zones. Okay, what kind of, for example, here I have a check for the offices which have more than 30 meters of height. So what are the requirements for these zones? The requirements is that I need fire extinguishers, detection systems, sprinklers, with those particular options. This program is really customized. It's very, instead of being of a particular standard, the objective is that the user can make in a way their own program, personalize or customize the program by its own criteria. So even the documents are going to be made by itself. Okay, if you see here the reports in the printer, you get reports for the checks and also the total project. If you see here the checks, these are exactly what we have told the program to do. So you see here all these texts, etc., are what I have written about that type of zone, and the program is checking if I have everything that I told the program I needed. Okay, for example, the sprinklers. I have told the program that I need sprinklers, so that's why I get the tick. This information is going to travel to the model, to BIMserver.center. So when I continue with the next program, that is CYPE hydraulic systems, the program will create a requirement for this particular installation. Okay, so more or less, the part that have this program is there are adjustments where I can configure any limit I want. In case this kind of thing, for example, the minimum access roads, something I can write my own criteria, okay? Once you have done, one second, I'll take a little look about that. This is all configurable by the user. The space occupancy, I can create the different density, occupation density in the different spaces, so that will be used afterwards, okay, in the different spaces in the job. Here, well, this is if you are used to other programs offer the map installations, they have usually the same structure, which is very handy in order to learn fast the next programs. First of all, here you have the adjustments for the design or calculation, then the catalog, which, for example, the fire extinguishers catalog, you can create your own fire extinguishers. Even you can select the symbol you want to that is shown in the plans. Okay, extinguishers, the fire hose, reels, hydrants, standpipes, alarm buttons, alarm systems, detection systems. Okay, and fire alarm control panels. And then that's the part of what elements I have. But maybe the most important part of the program is the checks that are going to be taken once we design the installation. First of all, the checks for the zones. So I told you before, I can set the requirements I want to have in the different zones. For example, okay, I can add all the zones I want. I can copy and make changes, whatever. Okay, in this case, I have only one zone and it's being used. Then I have the indoor compartment checks I want to make. Then the safe zones with the different checks or requirements. For example, okay, if I have a protected lobby, I want that it has a fire smoke control. If I don't get that in the zone, I'll get an error. The program will tell me that this is missing. Okay, same with shows. In this example, I don't have, but I could define one and say that, for example, in this house, I want to have sprinklers. Okay, the location rules. You can see even I can have a define it with a table. Okay, so the program will check that this is correct. In this case, you can see I have drawn the different evacuation routes, and that they are fine. They are fine. We'll see later. And you can define also the evacuation path, stairs, elevators, access roads, manual spaces, and outdoor propagation. Here you can see that these are already inserted in the example. Okay, it is finished. If I press in the update results, the program tells me that the project has been analyzed correctly. So this means that all the checks are correct. I don't have any error here. So that's why I can get, as I showed you before, the different reports with no problem. I also can get the drawings. I can get at the same time compartmentation, evacuation, requirement and accessibility, or one by one. Okay, I could. So I can get in different formats, per files. It could be DWG or DXF if I want to go to a CAD program afterwards, but I also could write it to get to a PDF. That's something, a new feature in the F version, 2021 version. If we press here detail of all the drawings, you can see the kind of results we get. Okay, this can be used, as I told you, in different formats, and or can be you can use afterwards another program for the layout, or use directly. Okay. By the way, I very briefly, I'll advise you to that there is a new program that is Open Bin Layout, a free program that is I think very interesting, in which you can use or combine the different results, the drawing results of the different programs we have. So maybe that could be the next step, and you get a nice drawings afterwards. Okay. Once we have finished this part, the next step is export. I have export to the BIM project. I have already done that, so that's why if you see, that's my second page. Here in my project tab, you can see in content that I have also the results of the design of the fire safety system. Okay, that's what I exported from Safe Fire Design. Okay, here you can see that I have also exported the different text PDFs, so I can share these with my colleagues. What I'm talking about is about my work team. This platform, the BIMserver.center, is aimed to allow the collaborative work. So it's very easy to add new members, so new users to the project. In this case, I myself and my colleague from the site, so the fire development department, which I invited to, for example, to do a part of the fire protection. I could invite another user, maybe if I want somebody to calculate the structures. Okay, so that's the interesting part of this platform, I think. Okay. I want to make sure nobody is lost. So, 1 second. Okay, we have explain a little bit the part of the architecture. Then I have just explained CYPE design. And the next step now is going to be CYPE hydraulic systems. I have already an installation, again with the same, using the same geometry, okay? This program, things that I think are interesting about this program, CYPE hydraulic systems, is that it's not necessary to use CYPE design first or have the architectural model, but it's very advised. Okay, I want to show you how it is possible to create from CYPE hydraulic systems. You could create a space. It is possible. I'm just going to do it. Imagine I want to create a space. I'm going to say that the springs must be start, and I could very easily do create a space. Okay, the same way as I have here, but it's more useful. I think it's more useful if you continue all the workflow, because that way, in that way, I have created these floor plans have appeared directly. I only create a new file for CYPE hydraulic systems connecting to the project, and then I got all the floor plans directly, and the space is read from the program from which I created the architectural model. I only had to assign properties to the space types. Okay, I read these spaces were created. I am going to show a little something. I want to make sure this is understood, because I'd like to see that how powerful this is, and how this is in this program is from which I created the geometry. Okay, so imagine, for example, we are in floor 2 in this program that is, this is where we created the geometry, and that's where we gave the name, the reference to the space and the type. Okay, so when I read, I can see here, okay, the reference, and this is the type of space. So here, when I came to hydraulic systems, yeah, let's see the one for the European standard, I just had to give the type of risk the space had. Okay, so it was really fast, the way you can really fast continue with the installation. One thing I want to say, 1 second, is the type of standards you have in this program, in CYPE hydraulic systems, because these programs use the EPANET 2 engine, okay, a very powerful engine from the United States. And also, this is always used in this program when you perform the analysis or calculation of the sprinklers system. But something that is quite interesting is that it has pre-configured standards that are very used worldwide. First of all, you have the NFPA 13. You also have the European EN 12,485 of 2016. And also we have the CP 52 of 2004 that is from Singapore. I wanted to make sure that this was understood, the difference between the different standards, and that's why I have the same installation, but with the 2 different standards. Okay, so you can see the difference in the different checks that are made. For example, imagine this is the file I have with the European standard. Okay, I used this once I began the project. I used this check. That's what I have in the different the checks that I want to make. Okay, so what happens with this? That if I press here in the update results, everything is fine, and I can see here, sorry, in the layer management, I'm going to uncheck the suspended ceiling layout because this is not helping me now. Here you can see, okay, the worst case sprinkler, okay, the hydraulically worst sprinkler. I can see the results, but you see that everything is correct. The distance between sprinklers, for example, is it says it's 4.32 less than 4.6. But if I go to this other, the same file, but with the Singapore standards, I do exactly the same steps. It says that the analysis has been carried out correctly, but you see all these errors that I got. You can see here errors like the maximum distance between sprinklers is more than 4.2 meters. You see here, this kind of check that this is not right. It says because that's the limit from this standard, okay, the Singapore standard. Another one that here, this is the distance between sprinklers, and this other is the distance from walls. It's not meeting the requirements, okay? It's too near the wall. You see these kind of problems. In this file, I would have problems. Why do I get these errors? Because in the first of all, okay, I can see the different spaces. Imagine I have this. Maybe here it's more useful in the installation. This is the type of space, the 7 type of space. Okay, if I come here to general options, this type of space, and using ordinary hazard group 1. What is this kind of hazard group? If I see here, and this is the one that is in use, that's why I see this weird circle. This is helping me to know, in order to know what I'm doing in this file. If I see here, these are the checks that I have for the sprinklers. The distance between sprinklers must be at least less than 4.2 meters. And the distance from walls, the maximum of 2.1. Okay, so that's why the program is telling me these errors. Of course, this is totally customized. Okay, this is if I can start using this standard, but I can make any change I want in case I want to. Maybe you are seeing this from another country and you have different requirements, or for any reason, I don't know, like for some reason your building has other requirements, so you can very easily only edit. It means you change. I would advise you, maybe it's better to copy. So you create a new type of requirement, okay? Imagine whatever, okay? And you can give any properties you want, different pressure, different distance, whatever, okay? And what happens that, of course, this will take you a while, but the good thing is that you can save it in your computer, export it, and it will be saved in your computer. And in next project, you just have to press import and use it. Of course, you can share it with your coworkers or with anybody. So if that person uses that extension in the computer, they will have access to that information. Okay, so that's important, I think. The fact that you can personalize, customize the standards or the checks that you are going to do. Of course, another important information, not only the requirements of the space, is the part about the general data. There are 2 ways of calculate the hydraulic system. Okay, Hesse-Williams or Darcy waste bars. Of course, it's a wet system, what we calculate. Another important thing that the fact that the program creates has an automatic generation of accessories is something very, very, very useful. And also something quite important is that the programs allows you to have sizing rules so that automatically if you activate it, you will have a pre-calculated diameters for the different pipes. Okay, of course, afterwards you can change them. It's totally, let's show you something. Here, that's if we select any type, we can lock the size of the pipe, and the program will tell us if it's okay or not, if it's right for the different requirements. Okay. One thing that is important is that I didn't finish to explaining is the fact that how we can create the different sprinklers. Okay, that's something, because you see, here you see the installation completed, but how did I do that? First of all, there are many ways. I'll explain it briefly. Imagine I have the space I told you before. Okay, I think I deleted it. I have imagined that space, okay? We can manually create the sprinklers, insert them, and then create manually the protected area. Okay, by drawing. That could be one way, okay? Manual, the most manual way. Another way is that you create manually the sprinklers. Sorry, I didn't explain the type of sprinklers we have. We have sometimes fire sprinkler types. Also, you can create manually. Okay, imagine I create a sprinkler, and then with this tool, I can generate the protected area automatically. I can choose circular or rectangular. If I imagine circular, I press the sprinklers and the sprinkler, and the program creates the protected area according to that sprinkler. But let's see now more interesting ways. These maybe are for details, but if you are doing a big building like that one, of course, you don't want to spend hours doing that, okay? So how can you do it faster? First, you have the branch line option, in which you select the type of sprinkler you're going to use, the type of check you want to make, etc. And you just have to draw a line, and the program is going to create the different sprinklers, okay, or the line of sprinklers. Another option, let me delete this. Another option is the cross main with branch lines. Okay, here you also choose the space between sprinklers, of course. Okay, I advise you to try the program a little bit if you want to make some try this. Okay, now I think this is getting more interesting. Okay, like you know the speed with which I can do this. Another option is to create a grid system. I can choose between cross main centers with branch lines to the left of the cross main, or with branch lines to the right of the cross main. Imagine I want this between cross main centers. That could be good for me. Okay, so that's quite interesting, I think. And always remember to use the right button of the mouse to finish the operations. One thing interesting about, well, and I left the last one for the finish because it's the one I prefer. 1 second, I'm going to delete this. The one I think is the most interesting and very useful, especially with regular shapes, of course, is that one, the automatic generation. Imagine that is the space I have. I press here, automatic generation. I can choose the type of generation I want with system of central cross main. Of course, the difference, the space between the sprinklers and the type of pipe and sprinklers I want. I accept, and I just have to select the contour of the space by button of the mouse. And here I have an automatic generation of sprinklers. In this case, I just have to continue with the line to the supply connection, okay? I'm going to start with directly from a supply connection or a tank and booster set, depending on the installation I have. Okay, so that's a little idea of the different options I have with the program, okay? About that, well, this is I couldn't see the results of this installation because it has errors. Okay, that couldn't be a good installation because the sprinklers are not in the right place. The distance is not the right one for this regulation or these standards, Singapore standards. Okay, but if I have the other file, I can see perfectly the results that the different checks are made. One thing I don't want to forget to explain. Okay, sorry about that the one you saw with errors was because that wasn't fine. Okay, this is finished, and I'll get results. Okay, and one thing I don't want to forget to explain. I already said the engine it uses the okay, it's something that the report you can see. Well, one thing I explained how to create the sprinklers, but also the next step, once you have finished creating the sprinklers, would be the design scenario. You have to tell the program the area of operation. In this example, the area of operation would be in the 7th floor and is selected like that. And after the calculation, okay, once we have finished the calculation, you can see in a different, because we have the results of all the sprinklers, really. Okay, that's quite interesting, I think. But it's important to know that the program tells us which is the hydraulically most unfavorable sprinkler, which is this. This is selected in another color, so that's the worst case, and you can, of course, get the checks of that sprinkler. Above that, another thing that maybe is nice to see is that we even have a simulation of the spray pattern. Imagine here, where we get everything, maybe we could unselect for this moment the architectural model. So we focus on the part of on this part, the sprinklers. We have an animation of the spray pattern. If we press here, you can see in the part that I mentioned before, you could see how this would work. Okay, and another comment about this program is that related to the flow is that the result of the CYPE hydraulic systems is exported to the project and can be read by CYPE FDS. Okay, so that's quite interesting. The fact that you don't need to insert the sprinklers in the CYPE FDS, they will be directly there. Okay, so about CYPE FDS and CYPE FDS viewer, I already said that the difference is that this is for the design and calculation, and this is only in order to view. I have some interesting videos I want to share with you. And while you see the videos, I want to check if there are any questions in the chat or in the questions tab. So we do that if you think it can be a good idea. A little view of this video about the CYPE FDS smoke control. Well, I hope you have found this interesting. One thing, of course, you can see that again any moment. Okay. One thing that I think is interesting in that video is that you can see that we can read not only the sprinklers but also the ducts, for example. So it's a quite interesting program. Difficult to use, of course, because it requires a lot of knowledge about the combustion, etc. So that's why same to experts engineers in that field, of course. Uh, so that could be the most of the time, maybe the expert would be the person doing that part, the FDS part, maybe, and then the rest of the people working the project maybe would use the B word, okay? The person from CYPE using the CYPE FDS, what I say that the expert in fire systems, it would export to the project, and then anybody invited to the project can see the results with CYPE DSP work. I have a little video of that program also. I'm going to share it because I think it's nice and I cannot improve improve that video with my words. So I'll share this with you if it's okay for you. And well, I will talk later. It's just 2 minutes and a half. So please take a look.
CYPE FDS viewers free application to aid in the visualization of fire simulations using the computational fluid dynamics standard FDS developed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. CYPE FDS Viewer features the Smoke View feature, also developed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology to visualize the dynamic fire simulation data. This tool allows the user to quickly evaluate the behavior of the smoke, evacuation, and temperature control systems of the building. With CYPE FDS Viewer, it is possible to access the project situated on the BIMserver.center, where the user is part of the work team with the aim of visualizing the digital model of the building and its associated FDS files. These can be generated through the CYPE FDS application available to download on the BIMserver.center store. In addition to the smoke and fire control, the Smoke View Viewer can also represent the evolution of the quantities linked to the different sections defined in the model. For example, the temperature, pressure, or flow velocity. Measuring devices and logical controls allow the simulation of the behavior with regard to certain elements of the building, as in the case of glass breakage due to rapid changes in temperature. It is possible to inspect the components of the fire extinguishing system. This can be defined through the CYPE sprinklers application, also available for download in the BIMserver.center store. Besides the simulation of fires, it is also possible to visualize the result of parameters related to the ventilation installation of the building. Finally, directly in CYPE FDS Viewer, it is possible to display graphical results from the simulation as featuring the quantities introduced in the program's phase.
So that's it. Well, I think I have said everything I wanted to explain today, a little overview of the CYPE suite. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. That's a good moment now. Or else, if maybe you have to need to take a little time to ask the question, maybe you can write to support@cype.com also, okay? Don't hesitate. Okay, I can see there's a question. Please, 1 second, let me read it and I'll 1 second, please. Okay, there's a question here. Can you do a demonstration of how to check the travel distance based on the Singapore code? Thank you. Please, could you give me more details about that? I suppose it's about the sprinklers, is it? About the sprinklers installation? Which distance are you referring to, please? Let's see while I give you time to write a little bit about that. Let me open the file, Singapore. We could see here the different checks. Is that what you were talking about? This could be the different checks that are made in the sprinklers. If we see in this example, okay, that is the Singapore standards are being used, okay, that's the one that I'm using here. It is in that case that one, okay, that the ordinary has a group 1. These are the different checks carried out that are here in the design options, checks to be carried out on the sprinklers, and that other the checks to be carried out on the fire hose rails. The different, that is what I want to be checked, and the results can be seen directly clicking in the different sprinklers. I can click in the sprinklers and then console check, and I'll be able to see all the checks that are being made and if they are right or wrong. So I should correct it. And every time I can export it to PDF. So if in case I want to see clean, okay, and compare with the file. These are all the different checks that are being made. I hope this answers your question. In case if you have another question, please you can write me later. Okay. This answer your question. If not, please let me know. Okay, let me know. I'm going to write what I already did, but I want to make sure you know how to reach me. It's my team, of course, not only myself, okay, but how to reach us in case you have any question. You can only, okay, as I told you right so far, you'll see other programs. Imagine imagine that one, hydraulic system. Here you have our email. Don't hesitate to contact us, okay? Any more questions? Any comments? Okay. I see that there are no more questions. Well, only I'd like to invite you to our next webinar. Here, 1 second. While you are thinking about the question, next week. Okay, different events. As you have been here, you already know how to sign up for different events. Well, you are invited to come next Wednesday to the seminar Design of Normal and Emergency Lighting Installations. I'm doing that also. Okay, so you are of course invited to join with that. Okay, so well, thank you for your attention. It's been a pleasure. I hope I have been able to explain the different options that I have in the programs. Of course, we could be longer, but I only wanted to make a brief comments about the programs, and you can download it and try them. Of course, there are academic or trial versions, okay, trial versions of the programs in case you want to see how they work. And feel free to ask any questions regarding the programs, okay? Thank you very much for your attention and see you in next webinars.